I never thought my life would take such a dramatic turn, a series of events that would unfold in a way I could have never predicted. It all began with a simple breakup, one that seemed like a clean cut at the time, but turned into a nightmare that I am still trying to recover from. My ex, Jake, and I had been together for 7 years, and we had 2 beautiful kids, Lily and Max. They were the light of my life, and I thought Jake felt the same way. But as it turned out, I couldn't have been more wrong. It started when Jake's ex-wife, Sarah, moved back into town with her new husband and 2 kids, a girl and a boy, who were about the same age as ours. Jake and Sarah had a tumultuous history, but they managed to co-parent their kids, Emma and Ethan, relatively well. I always felt a bit uneasy about their interactions, but Jake assured me that everything was fine, and he just wanted to be a good father to all of his children. I believed him, or at least I tried to. At first, things seemed normal. Jake would take the kids to the park on weekends, and sometimes we would all meet up for family dinners. The kids got along well, and I was happy to see them bonding. But as the weeks went by, I noticed a subtle shift in Jake's behavior. He started spending more time with Emma and Ethan and less with Lily and Max. He would cancel plans with us at the last minute to attend Ethan's soccer games or Emma's dance recitals. I tried to brush it off, thinking it was just a phase, but deep down, I knew something was off. One evening, after he canceled yet another dinner with us, I decided to confront him. "Jake, I feel like you're spending a lot of time with Sarah's kids and not enough with ours," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "I know they're your kids too, but Lily and Max are feeling neglected." Jake's response was dismissive. "It's not like that," he said. "I'm just trying to be a good dad to all of them. You know how important it is for me to maintain a good relationship with Sarah. It's best for everyone." I didn't buy it, but I didn't want to cause a scene. I trusted Jake, and I believed that he would eventually see how much Lily and Max needed him. But the situation only worsened. He began to take Emma and Ethan on weekend trips, leaving Lily and Max at home with me. I tried to fill the void, but it was hard. The kids missed their father, and I missed him too, even though I knew our relationship was already strained. A few months later, Jake moved out. He said it was for the best, that he needed some space to figure things out. I was heartbroken, but I tried to stay strong for the kids. We worked out a custody agreement where he would see them every other weekend and a few evenings during the week. It wasn't ideal, but it was better than nothing. But even with the custody agreement in place, Jake's visits became less frequent. He would cancel at the last minute or show up late, if he showed up at all. I called him out on it, but he always had an excuse. "I had to work late," he would say, or "I had an emergency with one of the kids." I began to suspect that he was lying, but I couldn't prove it. One day, I decided to follow him. I waited until he left the house and followed him at a distance. To my shock, he didn't go to work or to an emergency. He went straight to Sarah's house and spent the entire evening there. I felt betrayed, but I tried to keep my cool. I needed to think this through before I confronted him. The next time Jake was supposed to visit the kids, I called him. "Jake, I need to talk to you about something important," I said. "Can we do this later?" he asked. "I'm running a bit late." "Not this time," I insisted. "I need to see you now. It's about the kids." Jake finally agreed to meet me at a coffee shop. When he arrived, I could see the guilt in his eyes. "What's going on, Jake?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Look, I know I haven't been the best father to Lily and Max lately, but I'm trying to make things work with Sarah. She's struggling with her new marriage, and I want to be there for her and the kids." I was taken aback. "You want to be there for her more than for your own kids?" I asked, my voice trembling. Jake hesitated. "It's complicated," he said. "I care about Sarah, and I want to support her, but I also care about you and the kids. I'm trying to balance everything." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Jake, you can't have it both ways," I said. "If you're going to choose Sarah and her kids over ours, you need to be honest about it. Lily and Max deserve better than this." Jake's expression hardened. "I am being honest. I'm trying to do what's best for everyone, but if you're going to make this difficult, maybe it's best if we just move on from each other." I felt a wave of anger and sadness wash over me. "Move on? You're seriously considering moving on from us and the kids?" I asked, my voice rising. Jake leaned back in his chair. Maybe. I haven't decided yet. But I know I can't keep juggling everything the way I have been. It's not fair to Sarah or to you. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up, my hands shaking. Fine, I said. If that's what you want, I won't stand in your way. But don't come crying to me when the kids need you and you're not there. I left the coffee shop, feeling like my world had just shattered. I called my best friend Rachel and told her everything. I can't believe he's doing this, I said, my voice breaking. He's supposed to be their father. How can he just choose them over his own kids? Rachel was sympathetic. It's not okay, but you have to focus on what's best for Lily and Max, she said. You're the one who has to be there for them now. Jake's actions are indefensible, but you can't let him control your life. I nodded, trying to take her words to heart. I filed for full custody, and after a long and painful court battle, I won. Jake was given limited visitation rights, and he was ordered to pay child support. I thought that was the end of it, but I was wrong. The child support payments were inconsistent at best. I would receive a check one month and nothing the next. When I called Jake to ask about it, he would always have an excuse. I'll make it up to you next month, he would say, or I had some unexpected expenses. I tried to be patient, but it was hard. I was a single mother, and every dollar counted. I had to work long hours to make ends meet, and the financial strain was taking a toll on me. I filed a complaint with the child support office, and they started to investigate Jake's payments. Meanwhile, Jake's relationship with Sarah and her kids continued to grow. He would post pictures on social media of the four of them, smiling and happy. I couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy and sadness every time I saw those posts. How could he prioritize them over his own children? One day, I received a call from the child support office. We've been looking into Jake's payments, the caseworker said. It turns out he's been using the child support money to pay for Ethan's private school tuition and other expenses. I was stunned. What? I asked. How can he do that? That money is supposed to go to Lily and Max. The caseworker's voice was calm. I understand your concern. We've already taken action and are working to ensure that the money goes to the right place. However, we need to gather more evidence to take legal action against him. I was furious. I decided to do some digging of my own. I started following Jake and Sarah more closely, taking note of their expenses and the lavish gifts they would buy for Ethan and Emma. I even spoke to some of their neighbors who confirmed that Jake had been helping Sarah with bills and other financial burdens. With this information, I went back to the child support office. I have proof that Jake has been using the child support money for his stepkids, I said. Please, you have to do something about this. The caseworker listened to me and took the information seriously. They promised to investigate further and take the necessary steps to hold Jake accountable. A few weeks later, I received a call from Jake's lawyer. Jake has received a summons from the child support office, the lawyer said. He's been accused of misusing child support funds. We strongly advise you to drop the case. It's not worth the trouble it will cause. I was livid. I won't drop the case, I said. Jake needs to be held accountable for his actions. He's been neglecting Lily and Max and using their money to support his stepkids. It's illegal and it's wrong. The lawyer tried to persuade me, but I stood my ground. I knew I had to fight for my kids, no matter what the cost. The day of the hearing arrived, and I was nervous. I had prepared all the evidence I could, but I didn't know how it would all play out. When I entered the courtroom, I saw Jake and Sarah sitting together, looking smug. I felt a surge of anger, but I took a deep breath and focused on the task at hand. The judge listened to both sides, and I presented my evidence. I showed the receipts for the lavish gifts Jake had bought for Ethan and Emma, and I detailed his inconsistent child support payments. When it was Jake's turn to speak, he tried to deflect the blame. I've been working hard to support all of my children, he said. It's not easy, but I'm doing the best I can. I've been making sacrifices, and I don't deserve to be treated like a criminal. The judge didn't buy it. Mr. Thompson, he said, the evidence clearly shows that you have been misusing the child support funds intended for Lily and Max. This is not only unethical, but it is illegal. You will face the consequences of your actions. Jake's face fell, and I could see the fear in his eyes. The judge ordered him to immediately pay the back child support, and he was placed on a payment plan to ensure that he would continue to pay in the future. But the judge didn't stop there. He also recommended that Jake's visitation rights be suspended until he could demonstrate that he was taking his responsibilities seriously. Jake was devastated, and he tried to appeal the decision. But the evidence was overwhelming, and the court upheld the judge's ruling. I felt a sense of relief, but I also felt a deep sadness. This wasn't how I wanted things to turn out. I just wanted Jake to be a good father to Lily and Max, but it seemed like that was too much to ask. A few months later, I received a call from the police. "We've arrested Jake for a felony," the officer said. "He's been involved in some shady financial dealings, and it appears that he used some of the child support money to cover up his illegal activities." I was shocked. I had no idea that Jake was involved in anything illegal. "What kind of activities?" I asked. The officer explained that Jake had been embezzling money from his company and using it to pay for Ethan's private school tuition and other expenses. When the company discovered the embezzlement, Jake panicked and tried to cover his tracks by using the child support money. But the evidence was clear, and he was caught. I felt a mix of emotions. On one hand, I was glad that he was being held accountable for his actions. On the other hand, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pity for him. He had thrown away everything for a relationship with Sarah and her kids, and now he was facing serious legal consequences. The news of Jake's arrest spread quickly, and before long, it was all over the local news. Sarah and her new husband were also implicated in the embezzlement scheme, and they were arrested as well. I watched the news reports, feeling a strange sense of vindication. Karma had finally caught up with Jake, and he was paying the price for his actions. But the most surprising part of the whole ordeal came when I received a call from Ethan. "Hello, it's Ethan," he said, his voice hesitant. "I know this might be a shock, but I wanted to talk to you about my dad." I was taken aback. "Ethan, hello, what's going on?" Ethan sighed. "I found out about everything he's been doing. The embezzlement, the misuse of the child support money, everything. I confronted him about it, and he admitted it all. I'm really sorry for what he did to you and the kids." I was speechless. "Why are you calling me?" I asked. "Shouldn't you be talking to your dad?" Ethan's voice was shaky. "I've cut him off. I can't be part of a family that lies and steals. I know it's a lot to ask, but I wanted to apologize and make things right. I've been thinking a lot about what I can do to help Lily and Max." I was touched by Ethan's honesty and contrition. "Ethan, that's very mature of you," I said. "I appreciate your call, and I will pass on your apology to Lily and Max. But what do you mean by helping them?" Ethan took a deep breath. "I've been saving up my allowance and birthday money. I want to use it to help pay for things Lily and Max need. Maybe it won't make up for everything, but it's the least I can do." I was moved by his gesture. "Ethan, that's really nice of you, but I don't want you to feel like you have to do this. You're just a kid, and it's not your responsibility." Ethan was insistent. "I know, but I want to. I feel guilty for everything that's happened. Please, let me help in some way." I thought about it and decided to agree. "Okay, Ethan, I'll set up a trust fund for Lily and Max, and you can contribute to it if you want. But I want you to understand that this doesn't erase what your dad did. It's a small step toward making things right." Ethan's voice was full of relief. "Thank you," he said. "I'll do my best to contribute. I hope Lily and Max can forgive me." I hung up the phone, feeling a mix of emotions. I was grateful for Ethan's willingness to make amends, but I was still angry at Jake for his actions. I set up the trust fund and told Lily and Max about Ethan's gesture. They were surprised, but touched by it. As the months went by, Jake's legal troubles only worsened. He was convicted of embezzlement and sent to prison for several years. Sarah and her new husband were also sentenced, and the news of their downfall was a hot topic in town. I didn't gloat, but I couldn't help but feel a sense of justice. Jake had chosen his stepkids over his own, and now he was paying the price. But the story didn't end there. Ethan continued to contribute to the trust fund, and he even started visiting Lily and Max. They got along well, and Ethan's presence brought a sense of normalcy to our lives. He was a reminder that not all of Jake's decisions had been bad, and that sometimes good can come from unexpected places. One day, I received a letter from Jake. It was a heartfelt apology, written from prison. "I know I can never make up for what I've done," he wrote, "but I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. I messed up, and I'm paying the price. I miss Lily and Max, and I want to be a better father when I get out." I read the letter, feeling a mix of emotions. I didn't know if I could ever fully forgive Jake, but I knew that Lily and Max deserved to have a relationship with their father, even if it was a distant one. I decided to keep the letter and show it to the kids when they were older so they could understand the complexity of the situation. The story of Jake's downfall became a cautionary tale in our community. People talked about it, and some even reached out to offer their support. I was proud of how far Lily and Max had come, despite the challenges they faced. They were resilient and strong, and they had each other. Years passed, and I moved on with my life. I found a new partner, a man who loved Lily and Max as his own. We started a new chapter together, and the pain of the past began to fade, but I never forgot the lessons I learned from that experience. I learned the importance of putting my own children first, no matter what. I learned that sometimes the people you trust the most can let you down in the worst way. And I learned that even in the darkest of times, there can be a glimmer of hope. Ethan's visits continued, and he became a close friend of Lily and Max. He often spoke about his father's mistakes and how he never wanted to repeat them. He was a good role model for the kids, and I was grateful for that. As I look back on those tumultuous years, I can't help but feel a sense of closure. Jake's choices led him down a dark path, but they also brought us closer as a family. Lily and Max grew up knowing that they could always count on me and that their well-being was my top priority. And as for Jake, I hope that his time in prison will give him the opportunity to reflect on his actions and make a change. If he does, I'll be here to support him for the sake of our children. But if he doesn't, I'll continue to stand strong, knowing that I did everything I could to protect Lily and Max. The end of Jake's story was far from what I ever imagined, but it taught me a valuable lesson about the unpredictability of life and the power of forgiveness. I,